Hello, I'm Sue Butcher with another video in our series about collaborative working and how we can do small things to help it to happen. This one's about sharing. Every once in a while I get a call on my mobile phone from a complete stranger. They found out about me from somebody else and Googled my name and found my mobile phone number on my public LinkedIn profile. The people who ring me up this way are usually very useful. Quite a lot of my clients have come to me this way too. Often they ask me, why do you put your mobile phone number on your LinkedIn profile? And I say, so that you would call me up? Have you ever worried about sharing something because of what people might do with it? We're going to talk about the fear of sharing, the fear that people will do things with our stuff. It's a very powerful attitude because it prevents us from benefiting from the way people use information in our industry today. I'm a volunteer on the BIM for Manufacturers and Manufacturing Working Group, which helps construction manufacturers get involved in the process of BIM. Manufacturers are really important to BIM because they have the data, they make the products, and most of the data in our buildings comes from the products that they create. So it's really important, if we're going to use data in buildings, that we get the manufacturers on board. But a lot of manufacturers are very wary of being involved in BIM because they're worried about giving access to their intellectual property. Even if all the data that they would be providing is already in printed documents, brochures and design guides, they don't want to put it in a format where it can be compared with other products from other manufacturers. Why not? Construction products are always being compared with others, and as a specifier myself, I know how onerous it is to actually do that process at the moment. Why don't we look at making construction product information more accessible to people in a way that they can compare it so that they can do their job more efficiently? The only reason that I can see from a specification background why construction product manufacturers wouldn't want to do this is because they see that they'd be at a commercial disadvantage. But the opposite is actually the case, and I'll give you an example. I've got a friend who's an architect. His name is Ming Cheng. He works for Burrell Foley Fisher Architects in London. He likes to ask construction product companies questions on Twitter. Why does he want to use Twitter? Well, firstly because it's very quick. Secondly, because it's safe, he doesn't even have to give them his email address. And lastly, because he can just leave the question there and get on with his job. The question might hang in the air on Twitter for a few minutes or a few days, and eventually someone will reply. And the way that they reply tells him and us an awful lot about those construction product manufacturers and what they think about information. Last January, Ming tweeted a couple of window manufacturers about a double glazed window and whether they had one in their range that met a specific U-value requirement that he had. The usual manufacturer that he would use didn't reply to the tweet straight away. They took until the following day when they tweeted him back to say that they didn't have one and offered an alternative. But a company that he hadn't used before replied within 5 minutes with a link to the window that met his requirements, all the information about it, and an email address if he needed any more information. By the time his usual supplier had replied, Ming had already sent the information about the new supplier onto his contractor. The fact is that sharing information is absolutely essential to doing business today. If you want people to specify your products, you have to make the information freely available to them. And if you don't, they'll just go somewhere else and find another product that's more easy to access. And then you really will be at a commercial disadvantage. Sharing is essential for learning. It's important to know that you can still own things even when you share them. Think about this YouTube video that you're watching now. You might be watching it on YouTube on the B1M channel. Or you might be watching it on the b1m.com website. You might be watching it embedded in a LinkedIn post, or you might have been sent the link via email. It's all the same video. It's one YouTube video that's made and owned by the B1M, but they are sharing it everywhere. In fact, anyone can share it. They might have sent you an email link. It's still the same video and it still belongs to the B1M. And the B1M still benefits even if it's embedded on somebody else's website. What the B1M is doing is participating in what's called the information economy. People are transacting on knowledge and data, not just on reputation. Think about how Google has become so successful and so lucrative in the last 10 years. They're offering something completely for free to virtually everyone who uses their service. Of course, for the business model to work, there has to be a payoff that meets the business objectives. So for the B1M, it's more people watching their videos and learning about BIM. For Google, it's the profits they make from advertising and the information they get through the data that they collect. And for product manufacturers, it's the fact that specifiers and contractors will choose your product in preference to another one. So the benefit of sharing is visibility. If you're not in the model, you can't play the game. But it's also important to remember, as David Meerman Scott, who wrote The New Rules of Marketing and PR, said, you mustn't worry about sharing your information online. Firstly, because your competitors already know what you're doing. And secondly, because people like leaders and not followers. So next time you find yourself thinking, people will share our stuff without asking us, ask yourself, how can I make it easier for them to share? How can I make our information more useful for them so they'll share it more? We hope you liked this video about sharing, and we hope you'll share it with somebody else. And also, if you'd like to get more videos like this, just subscribe to the B1M and we'll see you again soon.